Breaking down the Niners-Eagles game. This is a crazy wild card weekend. Still haven't watched the Texans game yet. It'll be on in about an hour, but I felt like I just have to go through every game. So Niners-Eagles, the moral of the story here, Niners outcoached the Eagles. Kevin Patullo might be fired by now. I have no idea, but honestly, as much as the Eagles want to blame Kevin Patullo, I do agree. Where does the blame fall on Nick Sirianni? Because not only that, just conversation with A.J. Brown on the sideline, but Nick Sirianni's supposed to be an offensive-minded head coach. Instead, he's kind of just like a mediator, and yeah, he rallies his troops. He's definitely a good leader, but step in and say, hey, I'm taking over play calling. What the heck are you doing? Because clearly, that 4th and 11 to end the game was terrible. I mean, he ran 2 crossing routes it was just terrible. I don't know what he was doing. You could blame Jalen Hurts for the throw. There was nowhere for him to go with the football. Here, I'll draw it out for you. You had an over route. All right, this is backwards. It's going to screw me up. So there's a guy over here. Oh, man, where am I supposed to go? You had A.J. Brown running a streak. You had somebody else running an in. You had somebody else over here running an in. That's where he went to was Goddard, which was just dumb. But the first problem that happened on the 4th and 11 was the fact that Kevin Patullo took forever to get the play call in, and then you called the timeout and you barely see what the Niners are in defensively. It was just a crapshoot for the Eagles because they had this game won. They just kind of stalled out on offense like they did all season. They gave it to Saquon 26 times. They were just up in the game. 13-7, 13-10. It's only like they just went down and scored when they had to. Juwan Jennings threw a touchdown, and then all of a sudden, Eagles had to get woken up. This was off an interception, I might add, the field goal to take the lead. That was your moment to shut the door. That was your moment to make a statement. Instead, you stalled out. You got 1 or 2 first downs. You kicked a field goal. Whoop-de-doo. Like, Saquon, I think, broke a run, but it's like Saquon can't do it all by himself. I mean, I saw Kevin Patullo's playbook on TikTok, I think, and all I saw was inside zone in the shotgun. I just was like, wow. They're putting the playbook of the Eagles on the internet. It was just crazy. That's the thing with the Eagles. So predictable. I mean, it is so predictable. If you watch any game through the first or second half, you can pick up on what that team's going to do in the snap of a finger. So that's why, as a head coach, I'm not a head coach, but looking at Nick Sirianni, what is he doing? Why is he just letting Kevin Patullo call the plays? You don't even have to fire him midseason. Just say, here we go. Ready? Right here. Here's the play sheet. It's mine. What are you doing? Now let me call the plays. All right, here we go. We got bunch, left hook, whatever the play call is. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. The Eagles have the defense to win a Super Bowl, but now I'm concerned that once Vic Fangio goes and gets a head coaching job, what are you going to do without Vic Fangio? Because he is a great defensive coordinator and the only reason to why that team was in that playoff game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Vic Fangio in the first half of the year had some struggles on defense, just bounced back. I mean, made some changes. That's what good coaches do. And Sirianni, I don't know. How long do you keep him around? Yeah, he's a good coach. He's won 2 Super Bowl or won 1 Super Bowl, went to another. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what to think of this offense. You run it first and second down. It just feels like the Texans offense from last year. I would know. I watched the team. They run it twice, 3rd and 8, and they can't find anybody because you're in 3rd and long. Get yourself in 3rd and manageable. Make some bootlegs. Throw a little short. Like, some of those play calls, man, it was ugly. But yeah, I mean, Eagles 5 of 16 from 3rd down. This was probably one of their better games because the Niners defense is terrible. And still 19 points against the Niners defense. If you didn't know, we'll go right to the Niners schedule. They've allowed a lot of points. Outside of the Seahawks games, 38 to the Bears, 27 to Phillip Rivers and company, 24 to Cam Ward. Cam Ward scored more points than the Eagles offense that week. Yeah, the Browns, they haven't been great. Panthers, okay. But that was the last stretch of the season where the Niners defense just fell apart and you have, 5th and 6th string linebackers and Robert Saleh's just dicing up whatever he can. So I don't know what to look at that. But clearly, if you look at the numbers, just absolutely outcoached. More passing yards by 100, more yards by 50, more, they didn't have rushing yards. But again, the coaching aspect of how this game went was just bad. 7 penalties for the Eagles. That also didn't help. But 35 minutes of possession. You can't see it. But here, we'll just go back a little bit so you could see the one more time of possession. Or you're just not going to be able to see it. Hang on. All right, whatever. Third time possession says 30 5 minutes. So, again, the Eagles, what do you do? Do you tear down the whole team? Is A.J. Brown traded? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments because I think if you just bring back even like a Kellen Moore, who some people would argue wasn't the best. I thought he was pretty good. He got a head coaching job out of it, so I thought he's okay. But again, if you get a Kellen Moore offensive coordinator, this team is a Super Bowl contender yet again. But you can't have A.J. Brown getting so mad because he's not getting the ball every 5 minutes. So send A.J. Brown off to New England or something because you need to move on from him. I don't want to say that because he's a great wide receiver, but the diva-ness is not good. You can't pass for 168 yards a game and expect to win. 26 carries for Saquon, 106 yards. He broke off that run at the beginning of the game. It's just crazy. As for the Seahawks, Seahawks, Niners. That's the playoff game that's going to happen. Eagles are eliminated, whatever. They couldn't do it. It's just ugly. Interested to see what happens in the offseason. Niners, they are in trouble. I actually think they have a chance against the Seahawks, which is kind of crazy, but you are now down George Kittle, one of your best offensive weapons. No George Kittle, no Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa. There's no any of your all-stars on defense. You're up to Eric Kendricks, who was off the practice squad a few weeks ago, and it's actually making me think about just looking at this Niners defense. I mean, this is just rough. D. Winters is hurt. Fred Warner's on IR. Michael Williams, Nick Bosa. I mean, this is just rough as it gets. So I mean, they still got some good players, don't get me wrong, but I mean, they are down a lot, and that's just, it gets even worse without having Ricky Pearsall, without having now George Kittle. So looking at this spread, I'll be honest, yeah, it's not wrong, but I still feel like you cannot count out this Niners team. You can't, because they are still a very good coached team. -7, honestly, I'm taking the Niners +7 all day. If we're not going to forget, the 49ers were very close in both of these games. The most recent game in Week 18 for the for the division? I believe it was. That was the craziest aspect because you look at the fact that the interception from Purdy occurred right like 2 minutes before the game. If anybody remembers watching, it was a throw to McCaffrey near the flat. It should have been a touchdown. Instead, it was tipped up and picked off. So I believe McCaffrey tipped it up himself, so he's probably kicking himself. But that's just one play that goes the other team's way, and you have a 3-point ball game. There is no reason whatsoever that this spread should be at 7. I'm sorry. The Niners in the playoffs are going to play good. The Seahawks, on the other hand, couldn't score more than 13 points both matchups against this team. They couldn't score more than 13 points against a healthy defense. They couldn't score more than 13 points against a D. Winters got hurt that game defense. So I don't know what to expect from the Seahawks. They're getting this crazy hype to them, and granted, they have a great defense, but Clint Kubiak is holding the offense afloat. And I don't want to not give Sam Darnold any credit, but it's like, if you know how to get the Sam Darnold, you know how to get the Sam Darnold. I mean, they had a great game. The Seahawks had a great game against the Niners. If the Niners can learn from their mistakes, 2 weeks ago, they just played this team. They know them really well. I would not be surprised at all if the 49ers kicked off the best team in the NFC. Because clearly, on paper, they are the best team. I just talked about this last game with the Bills and the Broncos. It's a similar situation. The Bills are like the Niners. The Seahawks are like the Broncos. It's literally kind of a replica. Now, the coaching is a little different. Sean Payton, a Super Bowl winning head coach, and Mike McDonald, Ravens coaching tree. He's making a name for himself, no doubt. But as a first seed off a bye, you don't think there's going to be some rust there? I would think again. Now, I think the Seahawks offense is probably better than the Broncos just because they've been more consistent. They've been able to score. But do you trust Sam Darnold? The last time we saw him in a playoff game, he got really flustered. I mean, just under pressure, just looked like a different quarterback. I don't know if it's the playoffs. We saw Justin Herbert not have a good game, and we could talk about that in a little bit. But how do the Seahawks lose this game, right? I think that's what everyone's asking is like, oh, how do they lose? There's no way they lose, right? And I said the same thing about the Eagles, which was stupid. But how do the Eagles lose that game? Because their offense couldn't do it. And do you trust Sam Darnold to go score? If the Seahawks can beat the Niners defense and score 20 points, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to win that game. However, The Niners can easily learn from their mistakes a couple weeks ago, go into Seattle, and just kick them to the curb because they've been there before. They know how to do it. I don't care if the whole team's hurt. They'll find a way. Brock Purdy, I mean, he definitely threw a couple picks against the Eagles defense, but the Eagles defense was a great testament to now go playing the Seahawks defense. Yeah, the Seahawks defense is probably better, but the good thing to note is that you already played a tough defense in the Eagles, and you know you can beat them. So why can't you go into Seattle and beat them as well? You look at the Eagles game, Purdy had 262, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. You got to clean up the turnovers, but outside of that, I think if you can win without your guys, I mean, Demarcus Robinson was the leading receiver. He had that 60-yard bomb to start the game. Yeah, it was a little bit of a broken play because he just kind of ran after the catch, but I mean, Jake Tongas can fill in for George Kittle. I think, is it Tongues? Anywho, They can easily win this game, and I know I'm like way too early to think about this kinds of stuff, but plus 275 to win the game is really pretty good value. I don't see why this should be any less than a 3-point game. I think the thing that everyone's scared about is the Niners defense is just going to let the doors blow off. But in the playoffs, I think this is a different team. In the playoffs, I think this is a team that is hungry, wants to win, and they can easily go off to the NFC Championship and play the Rams in a rematch in another NFC West matchup. This is the NFC West playoffs. It's going to be the Seahawks, it's going to be the Rams, it's going to be the Niners. One of those 3 teams is going to the Super Bowl. It's just a matter of who, and I really think the Niners can keep it up. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I know the Seahawks are an absolute powerhouse, but I wouldn't get too ahead of myself. Seahawks are... They have some flaws. Defensively, they're great, but offensively, you know, they can stall out. We saw that in the last game against the 49ers. So if they're able to run the ball successfully, consistently the whole game, they can easily win the game. But it's going to be fun. A lot of great games for the divisional round. We'll get to a couple of them throughout the week. I got an hour to record a few more to watch the Texans game, but thank you everyone for watching. This has been Mike Zanetti just yapping about the wild card weekend as well as divisional matchups. Thank you all for hanging out. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.